Welcome to Sunday Springboard with Melanie and Kimberlyn Coaching, where we help women find their strength and flourish after major life transitions. You know, we've been studying about we've been talking about influencers in general, things that influence our energy. We've talked about spiritual, mental, emotional, and yes, physical. We started physical last week. We talked about breathing, about sleeping, about our general health. And remember that I record all my videos, put them on my website, KimberlynCoaching.com. And if you want to catch up with us, or if you want to watch some of the other series, go to my website, look on the Springboard page, and you can watch all of my videos there. Also, last week, my friend Tanya Record and I did a lengthy, an hour-long video on leaving an abusive relationship. We had a really great time doing it, and believe that we gave a lot of good tips to help people in those hard times. And also, some of the tips we gave you are just things that would help you just in life, even in COVID, and just how to live life generally. So whether you actually are leaving an abusive relationship or not, you could probably get some good things out of that video. So today we're going to continue talking about two of our favorite things, which not really. We're going to talk about food and fitness. I don't know about you, but these cause some of the most stress for me. Now, actually, I do well with the exercise part, and I'll tell you about that when we get close to that. The food part I'm still a work in progress. So let's think about food and nutrition first. Fueling your body, we know this, right? We have to put good food, good fuel into our bodies if we're going to feel good. If we're going to have physical stamina, if we're going to have energy, we have to eat the good, healthy foods in the good, appropriate portions. We know all this. I'm kind of just repeating myself because you probably know all this, but we're going to say it and then we're going to talk about it. So food is basically energy for our body. Like a car needs fuel to make it run, our body needs energy to function. Food and nutrition mean different things to different people, right? There are some people who eat to live. Not me. Some people live to eat. I don't know about you, but food talks to me. I don't know if you know, I know people who have their cookie dough still at the back of their refrigerator, and you're like, really? How long have you had it there? You know, it's for me, it will be gone really quickly, but working on that, like I said. So we think of food as different things. We think of it as love, entertainment. We think of it as comfort. We eat when we're happy. We eat when we're sad. We eat to celebrate. We eat to grieve. We eat when we're bored. There's so many different reasons to eat, when the only one to do very often is because we're hungry. That seems to be the hardest of all. So what does food mean to you? And when are you most likely to make food choices that don't support you? For me, one of the biggest times that I want to eat is when I'm bored, or when I'm not fully engaged in what I'm doing, when what I'm doing is hard, when I don't want to do what it is I'm doing. Those are some of the times that food talks the most to me. And so what I'm learning to do is to find some things to do, some ways to work around that, to give myself a little bit of a break, to do something that I like, and then get back on task without eating if I'm not truly hungry. So creating the best physical state for maximizing our energy requires us to take a good look at the choices that we're making about what we eat, how we eat, when we eat, and we want to connect the choices we're making with the outcome that we want. You know, dadgummit, we cannot eat what we want, when we want, and how much we want, and have the thin, energetic body that we wish we had. We just can't. I'm not saying that we are trying to get to some model thin body. That is not what we're saying at all. Hopefully you are past that. We just want to be healthy. We want to be healthy. We want to be energetic. And that is what we're talking about today. So research has shown, again, you know this, it's shown that what you consume, how much you consume, and when you consume it can all positively or negatively impact your performance. Think about how you feel Thanksgiving Day afternoon versus think how you feel on a day that you ate pretty healthy. I can tell a big difference in the energy that I have and how interested I am in getting up off the couch. So some things that you want to look at when you're trying to make these decisions and you're looking at what you're doing. So you want to look at your energy intake, which is actually the caloric intake, your body and your body weight and composition, your carbohydrate intake, your protein intake, fat intake, your hydration, and if you have special nutrient requirements. If your doctor's been telling you to take a vitamin and you're not taking it, shame on you. Get that going. You're going to feel better if you do. So the more that you choose food and drink that fuel your body wisely, the healthier you will be and the more energy you'll have available. Here's some tips for making conscious choices about what you eat and drink. Learn your body's signals. Journal about your eating habits. Be aware of how the timing of meals and snacks affect your energy and your performance. For everything that you eat, ask, how will this provide efficient fuel for your body? Drink enough water and consider the impact of drinking alcohol or beverages containing sugar or preservatives. Be conscious in your decision making regarding food at the grocery store and when out for dinner. Savor the experience of eating. Enjoy it. Be in the moment. This will help you practice that discipline. Actually, we learned the discipline in the 14-day adventure challenge, and I'm going to talk to you about that at the end of today's talk. We're going to run it again. So that helps you practice the discipline of presence in the moment. Consider choosing high energy foods whenever possible. Foods that are like fruits and vegetables, nuts, things that are close to their natural state. These have the most energy. And get a blood workup to determine your specific nutritional needs and your possible food sensitivities. I can't talk today. So I just want to talk to you a minute about what I've learned in this whole world that I have spent on dealing with food issues. So number one, diets don't work. I hope you're not trying to diet. I don't diet anymore. Research has shown that the restrictive eating, highly restrictive eating, makes your body think you're starving and it slows down your metabolism. Really, the only way for us to do this is for us to do small habit changes in small ways daily on a consistent basis, but not perfectly. So I've spent my whole life trying to do it perfectly, and then once I wouldn't break my diet or not eat healthy perfectly, I do it imperfectly, then I didn't do it perfectly, so I just blew the day, right? And then tomorrow I'm going to get back on, and so tonight I would have what they call a last supper, right? So tonight I'm going to eat all the junk because tomorrow I'm getting back on track. That doesn't work. How many last suppers have I had? I don't do last suppers anymore. Now the way I'm working it now, and I'm getting some help doing this, there's no food that's bad. Some foods are healthier than others, and I try to stick to the healthier foods. The ones that are red, which have high caloric density, I'm trying to limit my amount, but there is no food that's off limits. I just want to have smaller amounts of the foods that are high calorie and low nutrients. There's all kind of different ways to plan your food, and you have to figure out which way works for you. So before you make any changes, before you go on a plan, it's good to keep track of your intake for a week or two. So this will let you understand where you're coming from, where you're starting from, where you may be eating too much of this, too much of that, not enough of this, not enough of that, just where you need to change things. So there's all kind of free programs you can do, web-based, phone apps, working one-on-one with someone. There's so many different ways to do this. They're all helpful, and you just have to figure out which one works for you. When you're collecting your data, you can write it in your journal, you can use the app, whatever. When you're doing this, don't judge yourself. Judging will just make you hopeless and discouraged. So just give yourself kudos for working on this. And once you look at it, you can see where you are and just use that as information. It's just information. It's not judging you as good or bad, right or wrong, worthy or unworthy. It's just information for the way you have been living and how you possibly want to change. And the one thing I have to tell you, in all the years that I have worked on this, I have never done it perfectly. The only thing I've done perfectly is that I've never quit. Just don't quit. Just keep working at it. Eating is hard because you have to do it every day. You can't just stop eating. You can't just, be abstinent and not eat anything. And so every day you still have to find a way for moderation and balance, and that's hard. Our brain connections have also been trained. We have all kind of little connections that have been trained by the habits that we make. We can change those, but it takes a long time and it's a slow process. So there's many different reasons that we eat, but I think two of the most common are emotional eating and habit eating. Both of those we can work on. I'd be willing to work on it with you, or I'll help point you out some ways that you can work on that if you want to do it in a different way. But don't get discouraged and just don't quit. Just keep working at it, and you'll get better and things will go well. Now let's look at exercise. So the way you're going to exercise, your optimal fitness level depends on you. It differs from person to person. Maybe you want to get fit and go run marathons. Maybe you want to get fit enough to do some mountain climbing or some hiking. Maybe you want to get fit enough to get down on the floor and play with your grandbabies. We all have different aspects, but we need to be in some sort of fitness. I don't know about you, but I've noticed the older I get, the harder it is. And if I'm heavier, if I'm not in fitness, if I'm not fit, then life is just harder. I want my life and my last years to be as quality as they can be. So I'm trying to work on, I already talked to you about the food, but also for the exercise. There's different aspects of fitness you might want to do. You might want to do cardiovascular, strength, endurance, flexibility, your body composition. Maybe you need some help in your balance, your agility. Maybe you need some speed, some accuracy. Maybe you actually are working on sport-specific skills. Maybe you want to get out there and play some soccer, or do a triathlon, or just biking. Maybe you just want to do some biking, some walking. But either way, you're wanting to progress from where you are right now. So the regimen that you pursue will be dependent on your fitness focus. So you might need to get some experts to help you. You can do this online. You can do this through apps. You can do it. You could get a personal trainer. Again, I can help you think about this, work this out, try to figure out how you want to go. So knowing what your ideal regimen is and doing it are two different things. So which is your attitude toward exercise? We've talked about these attitudes before. I forgot to look it up to see which video it's in. If you're interested, message me or email me or something, and I will figure out which video it was in. But there are 4 different ways we can look at it. So tell me which one of these you're in. So number 1 is I won't exercise. It's boring. I have other things to do. I'm not good at it. I'm already where I want to be. I'm too fat. It's too much effort. It's not worth it. Okay, so 1 is I won't. 2 is I have to exercise. My trainer, my doctor told me I must. My family is putting pressure on me. So in this situation, I have to do it. Number 3 is I need to exercise, or I won't be able to keep up with the demands of my life and I won't be able to stay in shape. Number 4 is I choose to exercise. I feel good when I do it. It's very important for me to be fit. So the first three viewpoints, I won't, I have to, or I need to, are catabolic. You remember we've talked about that. Catabolic means it's kind of energy sucking. It destroys, it's destructive, it's lessens. Definitely doesn't help you have energy or enthusiasm for what you're doing. The only anabolic, which anabolic builds you up and lifts you up and is creative, is the I choose to. So ideally you want to mentally shift your perspective from the I won't to the I choose to. Now I personally have been in all 4 of these. I spent most of my life in the I won't. I hated exercises. I didn't want to sweat. I didn't like moving my body, making my And I'm like huffing and puffing. And I just didn't like it at all. And then it got to a point where I realized I had to do it. I actually was in an inpatient eating disorder thing, and they made us walk every day. Well, and I actually started enjoying it. And so I was willing to walk. I wasn't willing to do much of anything else, but I basically did it because I had to. And then next I moved up to where I need to. I really felt like I wanted to be fit, but it wasn't a point of enjoying it, but I just felt like I needed to. And during that time, what I would do is I would wake up in the morning and I would think, I really need to exercise today. I really need to exercise today. And at the end of the day, I would say, I really should have exercised today. So for me, what I ended up having to do was start doing it in the morning. In the morning, I am more able to do it. In the evening, I'm tired. I just want to be a slug and I don't want to exercise. So you have to figure out what's best for you. But so what worked well for me was I ended up able to do some aerobics classes with a friend of mine from work. She was teaching the classes, and we would meet in the parking garage because we had to walk in the morning. It was really early. It was dark and it was downtown Houston. And so we would meet in the parking garage. We would walk in together and I would do the exercising. And I found that I enjoyed the step exercises. It kept my brain busy. I wasn't just doing the same thing like, on a bike or a treadmill. For me, those just seem boring to my brain. But with these kind of like dance aerobic things, I had to keep my brain going to follow her and to do it. At first, I still didn't like it that much, actually doing it. I just felt like it was good for me, and I liked the way I felt once it was done. One thing that also helped me was that because it was dark and I didn't want to walk by myself, and we were going to meet, it gave me accountability because let's say I decided I didn't want to get up that day and go in. I just want to sleep in today. Well, I couldn't just sleep in. I had to call her and tell her I'm not coming because she was going to wait for me. And if I was going to wake up that much to tell her that, then I might as well get up and do it. So that worked really well for me to have some accountability. So you might want to do that too. Have a buddy to work with you and be accountable. Now, the problem with that sometimes is if your buddy is not as committed as you are, then they might drag you down. And if they don't do it today, then you might use that as an excuse not to do that today. So you just have to work that out to see how that works for you. So I guess the main thing I want to say about exercise, find something that you enjoy, or at least at first something you don't hate, and do it little by little. So when I first started doing these step aerobics classes, I couldn't do them at all. I wasn't in any state of fitness, and I told myself the way I could decide that I had succeeded that day was if I just wasn't dead on the floor when it was done. So I just had to keep moving for the entire time, even if all I was doing was just stepping up and back and wasn't doing any of the moves or anything, just stepping up and back. And that was what I allowed myself to call a success. As I kept on going, then I got to where I could do all of it, step by step, day by day. I got better. But I allowed myself to call it a success even when it wasn't perfect. So find something that you enjoy. Here's some other ideas about that. So do what you love. Exercise is any kind of movement that gets your heart pumping and your muscles moving. Dancing, walking, riding a bike, gardening, yoga, martial arts, these are all forms of exercise. So, and like I said before, create a habit you can live with, literally. And for me, creating a good habit is really hard. And losing a good habit is really easy. So once I started making this habit, I was scared to death to lose it. So I went through some times when I had some surgeries and I couldn't really do the real exercising, and I would still just use that time to do something, even if it was just some simple little exercise. It just kept my brain knowing this is what I do. So today, exercise is just what I do. I don't always do it as well as every day is not as strenuous as the day before, but I do exercise. I do it strenuously 5 days a week. Saturday and Sunday, I at least walk my dogs, and it's just what I do. And I don't really think about it. And here's one thing I wanted to tell you is make a habit where you don't have to think about it, where you don't have to say, Am I going to do it or am I not? Because if you give yourself an option, or for me, if I give myself an option, it's probably not going to happen. The other thing is, if you're going to do it in the morning or something, make it as easy to do as possible. Get your clothes out, get them ready to go. I heard someone talking the other day. He said he started sleeping in his exercise clothes so that in the morning he could just get up and go do his run. So whatever it takes to make it easy for you, that's what you want to do. So this is just a generic tip on making habits. For a good habit, you want to make it as easy to do as possible. For a bad habit, you want to make it as hard to do. So for exercising, you want to make it easy. For eating cookies and cupcakes, you want to make that hard. For eating carrots and apples, you want to make that easy. So the easier it is, the more likely we are to do it. Again, start small, start slowly, maybe just 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day. Walk around the block. You don't have to get into a full-blown fitness regimen on day one. You know that if you try that, by day 2 or 3, you're going to be in pain, and then you're going to quit. I know this because that's what I used to do. I used to work just hard enough to make myself sore, and then I would quit. And that's worse than not doing anything. So do small things that you can enjoy, or at least not hate. But I am a good illustration of the fact that you can change. I used to hate it, and now I may not love every single minute of it, but for the most part I enjoy it, and it's just what I do. Like I said, exercise most days, even if it's only for a few minutes. And to remember to be conscious while you exercise, enjoying every moment of it. Remember, it's a gift to your body. Just think about this. Your body can move. Some people's bodies can't move, and they would give anything to be able to get up and exercise like you're doing. So try to shift your perspective on this. Try to think about, what are your values? Is fun a value? Figure out a way to have fun while you're exercising. Is having time alone a value? Use this to spend some time alone. If you like to be with other people, maybe you want to get in a class or do your exercising with other people. Find a way, like music. If you like music, put music on while you do it. Find a way to join your exercise with something else that you love to do. You'll be much more likely to do it. So again, if you want help on figuring any of this stuff out, I would love to talk with you and visit with you. I can either work with you myself, or I can help point you in the direction you want to go. Just go to my website, KimberlinCoaching.com, do my work with me page, fill out the form at the bottom, and you can tell me what you're interested in. So now I wanted to tell you, we're doing the 14-day challenge again. We're offering again. If you missed it, the ship is going to sail again. It's going to start on November 4th. I put the link in the notes, but just really quickly, let me explain to you what it is. It's the idea that our life is a trip. It can either be a really sad, depressing trip, or it can be a fun, exciting trip, or maybe in between. Right now with COVID, many of us are not getting to travel. So I put together this little virtual trip. So on this 14-day challenge, it's run through Facebook. Every day I will do a video. It's a 5 to 10 minute video. I'm going to explain to you some concept that's going to help you in life. We're going to talk about leaving the past. We're going to talk about making plans, how to have a plan A, plan B, and plan C so that you can always be successful. We're going to talk about mentality, a learning, growing mentality versus a perfectionist mentality. We're going to talk about awareness, confidence, just different concepts every day that's going to help you. And I'm calling this where you're going to make your roadmap, your own roadmap, because a lot of times we feel like we're just kind of lost out there in life, especially when we're in transition or major transition. So every day you're going to have a little video, you're going to have a worksheet or two that you can do or not do. You don't have to. And then you're going to have a link to some kind of virtual tour. And sometimes a few little activities to go along with that. So we're just trying to make it fun, learn a little, and virtually travel and get our minds off of the negativity that's out in the world today. Have a little fun and learn something too. So the link in the show notes will give you more information. We'll also give you a place to sign up. It's only $49 for the 2 weeks. I think that's good. This week, check yourself out with your food, with your exercise. How are you doing? What ways do you want to change? Give yourself kudos and celebrate the things that are good. Don't try to do it perfectly, because you're not going to be able to do it. make small changes, make little bitty habits. I think that's it. Have a great week. Bye-bye.